Hello, 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 and welcome to my channel. I am Valerie, a speaker, a certified life coach, a sister, a daughter, a woman, but most importantly, a child of God. And so this morning, the thought kind of just came to me about how so many people fail to start something or pursue a task based on fear. And so I kind of want to talk about fear this morning and kind of how we can get through it. How can we can get past fear? And one thing that I recognize is that, fear can grip people in so many different ways. And I wonder, where does fear start? A lot of times people have been dealing with fear from childhood simply because they had people in their ear who maybe said, hey, you can't do this. That's not something that is in your wheelhouse. Or maybe you've been on jobs and you failed at tasks, or you may have been looked over for some things, and so you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like someone else is worthy of this pursuit or this task or this thing, this great thing. But today I want you to know that you are worthy and fear does not have to grip you. The word tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And so if God has not given us a spirit of fear, then we can truly rest assured that we don't have anything to worry about. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to fear. And so I was scrolling through my timeline this morning, and definitely in this year of 2020, with everything going on with the pandemic, so many people I was seeing are gripped in fear. They're afraid to go places. They're afraid to start things. I just saw the theme of fear up and down my timeline, and I was thinking, I was like, Lord, you are awesome. God, you're awesome. And with you, we can do all things. And even though a lot of us know this, it's still sometimes a natural trait to feel a natural emotion, let me say that, to feel fear or to feel scared. But the thing that the word also tells us is that we have to cast our cares upon him, because God cares for us. And so if we truly follow what the word says, then we can overcome those emotions and those feelings and those things with him. And we can walk it out spiritually, and we can walk it out naturally. And so after kind of going through my timeline, I don't know about you, but I have a Bible app on my phone. And so the word of the day popped up on the app. And so the word of the day was Isaiah 41:13. And it says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you." Let me say that again. Isaiah 41:13 says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand." He will take hold of our right hand. If we are believers in God and we can walk in the ways that he has for us, he says that I'll take hold of your hand. And he says to us, a lot of times we're like, God, I can't hear you. Are you with me? Are you okay with what I'm doing? I can't hear your voice clearly. But when we get in his word, and his word is saying to us, I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. And so the thing that we can rest in is that knowing that we don't have to do it alone. God is right there with us. He's going to hold our hand, and he's going to give us the ability to do that which we need to do. And so in that, in a nutshell, we don't have to fear, because he's with us and He will give us the ability, He will give us the strategy, He will give us the details on how to do. But a lot of times, if we follow through scripture, we understand that a lot of people had to do things even when they were afraid. They just had to go ahead and do it. And the thing is, even when they were doing it afraid, or doing it while they were in fear, so to speak, even though they started out this way and not necessarily knowing the next step, they knew that God was with them. And so after they began, then the next step started to fall into place. And so that's the message, and that's the thought for us today. Just start. And then just know that God is with us, and He will help us get to the next level. So here are some things that I wrote down, and I want us to kind of keep in mind as we begin new ventures, we begin new tasks, ideas, and we move forward in this thing called life. The first thing I want you to remember is to keep God first. When we keep God first, He says that He'll hold our hand and He'll help us on any way that we need to go. And He says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all of these other things will be added unto us. So if we seek God and His kingdom first, all the other things that we're seeking Him for and we're asking for, the next step, the direction, where should I go, what should I do, those things will be added. And so that's the first step, seek God. And then the second thing is, even in fear, do it anyway. Do it anyway. When you see that you will go ahead and start, then you'll notice that it could possibly become easier. You'll start to see, okay, sometimes, I don't know if you all have ever noticed this, but sometimes the things that you're fearful about, I remember one time I had gone to a theme park and saw this. It's been so long since I've been to a theme park, but I saw one of the rides, and it looked extremely scary. It looked scary because it was one of those high rides, and then they spin you around. But me being who I am, I was like, I'm gonna get on it, because I like to think of myself as a person who go ahead and filter through the fear. You know, I might not want to do it, I may be scared to do it, but I'm gonna keep on the face like, you know what? Fear is not real. I remember. Let me finish this story. So I went ahead and got on it, and have you ever been kind of shaken and nervous? But go ahead and get on it. And when the ride, it lasts about 15 seconds. But after I got off, it was like, I want to do it again. That was fun, and I don't even know why I was scared in the first place. A lot of times, that's how life is. It seems scary on the front end because it's the unknown. We don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to spin me around and knock me off the ride. We don't know. So that unknown is fearful, and that's okay. But the thing is, once you actually try it, if you get the okay and you know that, hey, this is something that I need to do, something that I want to do, when you go ahead and do it, and when you come out on the other side, you'll be like, oh, that wasn't that bad, and I want to do it again. And so that's what I encourage you to do. Go ahead and do it anyway, and you'll realize that you can come out on the opposite side better than what you started, and realize, you know what, you can tackle any task, you can tackle anything, because it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You can just say that to yourself. It's not that bad. I'm going to do it anyway. And so another thing I remember when I lived in Texas. I'm from Arkansas. And I lived in Texas for a while. And so in Arkansas, it's flat land everywhere. Hardly have to cross any bridges, hardly have to cross specifically no big bridges. And so when I moved to Texas, you know, bridges and all that stuff is everywhere. And I remember, I think it was some movie. I think it was a movie with Will Smith, and I only saw the trailer because I don't watch a lot of movies all the time. But the trailer, I remember him saying, "Fear is not real. Danger is real." And so when I was crossing those bridges, one, listen, my worship game went up because I was like, God, you gotta take me through this, because my leg was shaking. Yeah, I was a little nervous and scared going over those bridges, and I don't know why. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But even crossing those bridges, and I realized, and I kept saying it in my head, fear is not real. Danger is real. And I realized in those moments that I was not in danger. I was not in danger. My car was in good condition. I was in my right mind. The cars around me were not traveling terribly. Everybody seemed to be doing their best job, like they had, you know, taken their driver's test and they actually read the book, and they, you know, they were driving well. They were doing good. And so I was not in any type of danger at that time. And so I kept telling myself, fear is not real. Danger is real. And I'm not in any danger. And so I would travel over those bridges and I would get over. I know some of you may be like, girl, that's easy. But this is the thing. Fear is different for different people. What may be easy to one may be the hardest thing for somebody else. So the thing is, we have to understand, how do we overcome it? And so for one, I had to go over that bridge anyway. Two, I made sure that I was praying. I was worshiping. There were songs. Listen, what's in you will definitely come out of you. And I remember there were songs, worship songs, old time songs that would just come up in my spirit, and I would just begin to sing, and I would just begin to worship. And what does that do for us? One, when we worship and we give God praise, that gets our mind off of the thing that's going on. That gets our mind off of the fear that is occurring, or the thing that's trying to grip us. We set our affections on something else. And so with that, God gave me strength to get over those bridges. And that's even a metaphor even for now. In your life, there are some high bridges that you need to cross, and you don't know how you're going to get over it. You're scared, you're nervous, you're fearful about it. But the thing is, you know that what's on the other side of that bridge is your life. What's on the other side of that bridge is your destiny. And so if you don't cross that bridge, you can remain in your stagnant place. You can remain stuck. And you can remain in a place where you're wondering, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And so with that, if we know that, hey, let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and get over this bridge, because I really don't have another choice. Obviously you do. You have a choice not to do it, not to go over the bridge. But if you want better for yourself, you don't have another choice but to go over the bridge. And so, and this is talking about life, not necessarily the bridge story that I just gave you. But if you do it with God, He'll carry you through. If you remember that Isaiah 41:13 says, He'll take hold of your right hand. And He says to you, do not fear. I'll help you. I remember going back to the time that I went to Texas. I remember the first time that I went, there was one time that it was a new bridge I had to cross. One, I had to use my GPS system because I didn't know my way around Texas those first times that I went. And so I used my GPS system, and the first time I went, I had to go over a pretty large bridge, but I got over it. And the second time I went over the same bridge, so I kind of became familiar with it. And so the nerves and the fear that I had the first couple of times, they were no more. Then a third or fourth time, I remember I was moving there. That's when I actually began. I had to go there a couple times to go and find my apartment, to go and do the job interview, all that stuff. So when I actually started driving to move there, got to Texas, and my GPS took me a different route for whatever reason. I don't know if it was traffic jam on one end, whatever. It took me a different route. And so when it took me a different route, I came across a new bridge. And my mom and my brother were with me. I was driving a car, my mom was driving her car, and my brother was driving the U-Haul. I was in front because I knew the apartment which I had chosen, and so I was leading the way. Got to this new bridge, y'all. There was like a veer off. So we're driving down the road. There was a veer to go this way, and then it was kind of like a V here that kind of like a border. And then on the right side, this was the bridge that I had to cross. Y'all, that little V was enough space for me to park my car for a hot second. Granted, I had my mother behind me and I had my brother behind her. I'm leading the way. I stopped for about 15, 20 seconds. But in that 15, 20 seconds, what do y'all think I said? Fear is not real. Danger is real. I am not in danger. And I said, God, I know that you're with me. My leg was shaking like this. It was shaking. But I knew that, one, I had to get over the bridge. I was too far away from Arkansas. There was no way around. Plus, I'm driving from a GPS, and I don't know which way to go. So this is the only way that I had. So in that 15 seconds, I had a moment of pause. I had to pause. Got myself together and said, let's go. And so I veered off to the right and started over that bridge. Y'all, I don't normally drive like this. I'm kind of like that one hand, but I was, I had my wheels sturdy, making sure that it did not veer to the left or to the right, but I stayed on the narrow path. And that's a word for somebody too. When you know that you have a path that you need to go forward to, or a bridge to go over, don't veer to the left, don't veer to the right, but stay on your narrow path, because that narrow path is going to lead you to where you need to go. And so, granted, a lot of times you make the decisions that you make, you may be the lead. Just like I was leading my mama and my brother to my home or my apartment in Texas. It's okay, even if you're a leader, even if you are the owner, even if you're the decision maker, for you to have a moment of pause. But the thing is, you know that you have some people behind you, and they're trusting you, they're trusting your direction. And so it's up to you to not let fear stop you, to not let fear win, but for you to let fear know that God has my hand and He's helping me, and I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And so what do you think happened? that 15-20 seconds that I sat in that veer, my mama got in that veer, my brother, because they didn't know what was going on. They probably thought I was having car troubles or something, but I told you my car was doing well. But they got in behind me, and I knew we couldn't sit there for long because cars was going to start coming. Ooh, side note, I just thank God that he didn't let any other, it's Texas. Cars could have been coming left and right to get on this bridge, but I thank God that he was like, look, I know she don't need to pause for about 15-20 seconds, so I ain't gonna let nobody else come. Let me tell you, God had my right hand and he was helping me. And so 15-20 seconds, I hit a pause, and then I moved on over to that bridge and got on over, and we made it to our homes, my home, safely. And that's the thing, you'll make it to your destination safely if you don't quit. Don't quit. Don't let fear stop you. The last thing is, when you go ahead and get over it, that's one less obstacle you have to you'll have to endure. It becomes easier after that, because just like I told you all about the first times I had gone to Texas to at least do the job interview, find my apartment, the first bridge that I was going over, it started to become easier because I began to know that bridge and realize that it's not that bad. That's what I began to realize. It became easier. So once you go over or get over that fear of the unknown, once you get over the fear of not knowing, and you go ahead and do it anyway, you get on through it, you'll realize it becomes easier and you're ready to tackle the next task. But the thing is, when you get to the next task, it may be just as scary. You may have to take a pause, and that's okay. But when you take that pause, tell yourself, I'm doing it anyway. So just to leave you with the rundown of how do we overcome fear. One, we keep God first. We seek him and make sure that he's given us the okay, or we have that peace about a situation. Two, we do it anyway. We go ahead and get started. Even if we're scared, even if we're afraid, we go ahead and do it anyway. The third thing is to realize that failure is a lesson. You may have to take a pause, but realize once you keep going, the fourth thing is it becomes easier. Your bridge, the fear of the unknown is no longer unknown. So now it gets easier. And you'll realize everything that you feared in the past has caused you to reach a destination where you want it to be. And the next time you come to a task that may seem a little scary, you have experience now that's your teacher that says, I got through those things, I can get through this. And finally, even what we started with is God, the thing that we end with is God. Know that he has you in the palm of his hand because you're his child. And as Isaiah 41:13 says, he's the Lord your God, and he'll take hold of your hand. Do not fear, for he will help you. Guys, I hope that this is going to help you to overcome your fear. And P.S. Even if you're fearful, keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't quit. Get over that bridge and reach your destiny. So I hope that this has helped you, or will help you, to overcome your fear, to go ahead and get started, and to continue on in your path. Keep God first, and He'll take us through everything. Love y'all. Bye.